And aloha! Welcome to the Blue Note Fan Report. I'm Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, and I'm your host on the only program that is by a fan, for the fan, and absolutely about you, the fan.
So are you Guy or Guy?
Ed Danowski.
You're not in Hawaii?
I wish.
To Mr. Gary Younger.
Hi, Guy.
Hey, sir, how are you?
And Brock, how are you doing?
Doing great, sir. Doing great. Honored to have you on the show.
You know, I had the privilege while I was in the forces, in the Canadian Armed Forces, to take the Stanley Cup to Afghanistan. Only hockey fans would deploy to Afghanistan where it's 105 to 135 degrees every day, and they'd take their hockey sweaters and play ball hockey. This is a year for the Leafs. The Leafs are going to win it all this year. One of the players down the line said, "You got to be kidding. The Taliban got a better chance of winning the cup."
And aloha! Welcome to the Blue Note Fan Report. I am Guy the Blue. Well, I screwed that up. Let me start this again. And aloha! Welcome to the Hockey Fan Report. I'm Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, and we're here to talk all things playoff hockey on the show that is by a fan, for the fan, and you got to know all about you, the fan. Let me bring in my special co-host today, Miss Ashley Jones. Hey, Ashley, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Guy?
Hey, not bad. We're going to have trouble getting people to watch us. Might have to watch us later, so we'll just go ahead and talk and see what's going on. Facebook does not like me, man.
Yeah, I noticed. I did go ahead and share it in the groups that I could real quick, and I sent private messages to certain people. So
I did too. I went
and
sent it through Messenger. So hopefully a few people will get it and get on. If they do, they do. They don't, they don't. We can talk. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. First of all, yesterday's playoffs games were absolutely incredible.
Oh, yeah. Especially that Florida game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you start a rookie. His first playoff game, right? And actually, I don't think he played a lot this season. I know he played a little bit this season, but not a lot. And he just shut down one of the best teams in the league. Yeah. That was absolutely incredible. I am very, very impressed. Well, hey, Mr. Ian Oman, our Wild friend, was able to, and that's the other game, the Wild Knights game. Here's something, I picked the Knights, and if I'd have known this fact, I wouldn't have picked them. They have never clinched. Now think about this. They've been in 1, 2, 3, 4. I think this is their 5th home series, and I'm not sure, probably 5 or 6 if you count the ones in the bubble, and I got to double check that. They've never clinched at home.
I didn't even know that.
Home. Huh?
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that on watching it yesterday, and that was like, oh man, if I didn't know that, I'd have picked the Wild. But the Wild outplayed the Knights yesterday. Absolutely did. They took, and this is no joke, I think it was 11 shots or 13 shots. I mean, it was so low. And they gave up 3 goals. I mean, the people that picked Furry, or they gave up 4. Well, he gave up 3 goals. They got a -2.
Oh, I'm so glad I wasn't brave enough to go for a goalie.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. That's the thing when you go with the goalie. It's the only player that gets you a negative. Though I think for next season, I'm going to add a penalty that cost a playoff power play goal is a -1.
Yeah, that might even out a little bit more.
Yeah. Sorry, my throat's
you're
been really
fine.
dry today. One of the things that I was looking at I'm looking at the contest and the best way to do things. 22-1 in favor of Vegas through 20 minutes. Oh, I mean, it was bad, the shot wise. But when you look at the scoreboard, actually, even with that, I felt like he says not in the second and about them outplaying them. But it's still, to me, when I got to watch most of the third, and it was wild all the way to me. Even trying to pull the goalie, they just couldn't get anything connected. I liked what the Wild did in that game. Really did. But the game to watch, the one that we got to talk about the most, and the one that I'm thinking about writing about, is the Edmonton-Winnipeg Jet game.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
That was phenomenal.
Not even the third. This was an elimination game that goes into 3 overtimes. And it was just incredible. And then the goal, just wow, what the? It was really free McDavid. And this is what, see, I'm starting to wonder, though. McDavid didn't have a great series. He's not a playoff performer, right? And you have the German now, and I can't think of his name, Draisaitl, right? Draisaitl had a really good one, and there was another guy on there that did a good one. There's a lot of guys there that really played hard, and McDavid, I think, had 3 points in 4 games, right?
Yeah.
This is a guy that averaged, almost 1.5 points. He scored actually close to 2. I think it was 1.83, right? He scored 105 points in 56 games. That's almost 2 points a game. And then in the playoffs, he just doesn't show up. I've said this before, and I know I get slack on this. I just don't think he makes those around him better. And actually, that might be when he goes and does his thing, it's great. I mean, and it works. But he needs to be on a team that has talent that doesn't rely on him, right? And he's not. You know what? I wouldn't put him on the first line either. I'd put him on the third line, right?
I would probably go second.
Okay, well, but you see what I'm saying, right?
I completely agree with you, but he's still top 6.
You need to put him on a line with guys that don't really. I mean, if they get him the puck, great. But if they don't, that's fine too, because he knows what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I agree with that.
So that's what I mean by, getting him down on the third line, because it doesn't matter. You can put him on a third line and roll it and have him playing just as much, right? I mean, you can have the third line playing even more than the first line if that's what you need. But he just, I'm going to try and pay more attention to him next season and try and watch some stuff. But I don't think he's been out of the second round since he's been in the league. And I know he hasn't been in the playoffs that often, but I don't think he's been out of the second round. And he's been in the league like 8 years now, 6-7 years. He's been in the league a while.
Yeah.
Right. Because he's on his journeyman contract. He's not on he's when his contract's up, he's an FA. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So Ian says spread the wealth kind of deal. Well, Ian, this not necessarily spread the wealth. I don't think McDavid is the type of guy that will elevate the guys around him. He needs to be the guy. He needs to be the guy. And when you get other guys around him that, can score just as much, pass just as well, have good vision, there's not a connection. You put him on a line where those guys, if they get him the puck, great. If they don't, okay, he can do what he's going to do with it. He's still going to score. And their assists are going to go up. You're going to actually make a third scoring line on a team. And a scoring line, it's going to score almost has the same as the second. They lost to Anaheim's in 6 games. Round 2, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. Hey, guys, watching on the YouTube side tonight. Thanks, Chris. I'm sorry. Facebook and me just don't get along. right now, like nobody's watching on Facebook, and that's fine. Actually one person is, so but that's just, you just got to deal with that. Actually, I think I'm the one person. Now that I think about it, I'm probably the one person. But that's just what happens, and you kind of deal with it. Actually, maybe not. I don't know.
Do you have your settings? I know I shared it, but I'm friends with that account.
Yeah. So,
well,
I made it to where it was live. Or I made it to where it was. Let me double check the settings, because I know I put it on. See, it says you can share. If you can share, then it's
mm-hmm.
Well, let me double check.
Or is it was share with friends?
No, I thought I put it to all. Let me go back and check. I'm trying to log into that one now. Let's see. Edit audience. Oh, it went back to friends. It went back to friends. Oh, well. So now it's
Jordan's
back.
On.
Jordan's on. Yay, it's me. So Jordan just found it. It's me.
Hi, Jordan.
Not really Facebook jail, but Facebook probation. They've made it so I can't do live videos. Right? So close. Oh, it's Jordan there. Thank you, Jordan. We appreciate that. And now I've made it. I know for a fact that it's everyone. So we'll see what happens. I'm not really worried about it. Ash, I got to ask you, you were at game 4.
Yes.
Right? The last game of the season. What was the feeling in the building? Was that tension pretty high in there?
Actually, I thought that everyone at Enterprise was very hopeful. I felt that the crowd was energized up until the moment that they got that 4th goal.
Okay. When it was 2-1 or 3-1 and Tarasenko scored that 2nd goal, did that give you a feeling that, yes, we can win this?
Oh, absolutely.
We can at least tie it? Right?
Absolutely. And then that Hoffman penalty just kind of killed it. And then
you know what? You look at that. I have a problem with that call. How do you call a high stick with somebody's stick is at their waist level?
You don't. And it just really irritated me because they showed it on the Jumbotron, and there was no way that was a high stick.
He's bent over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's my issue with this. You go back to game 1. Not Bouwmeester, Bortuzzo. Why was there no supplementary decision? Because his head was lowered and he was trying to hit somebody else. So the guy was in a defensive position, right? He took an elbow that broke his face, right? One of the strongest bones in your body, your face, and he just broke it, right? Excuse me. I don't want to get any officiating, but it's and I just actually on The Athletic, and I haven't read it yet. I just seen the tweet before we came on. Jeremy Rutherford tweeted out that on The Athletic they have a thing about the officiating, and I want to read it because the officiating is absolutely horrible right now, and it's one-sided in a lot of these. It used to be this is what. Jordan says dad's in Facebook jail a lot. With knowing your dad, I could see that. Sorry about that, Ashley.
You're fine.
Oh, did you freeze or I freeze? I froze.
You froze.
Yep. Okay. But I'm back. I think. Am I back?
Now you are. You're good.
There we go. Yeah. So my camera only goes 30 minutes and I got to reset it. That's kind of the way it works. The officiating has been bad all the way around, right?
Oh, I agree.
It used to be if both coaches are complaining, then the refs are doing a good job, right? Mm-hmm. But you're not hearing that in these series whatsoever. You're hearing only one coach talking about bad penalties, right? And I know they're missing them on both sides. You froze again. Say again? I didn't hear what you said. Oh, I must have froze again. I don't know what's going on. Who's freezing, guys? Is it me or Ashley? I'm trying to figure. Yeah, I can hear you now. I guess I'm not sure if it's you freezing or me freezing. Normally, when I freeze, I get the little thing here saying that my internet's bad, but I'm not getting it right now.
I'm not
So-
getting anything either, and I usually get that same alert. So that's
Okay,
kind of
so hey,
strange.
we'll play with it, man. You just keep going with what you got and see
Yeah.
what happens. So what I was saying is on this, it's one-sided with the officiating. You only hear one coach complaining. I know there's missed calls on both sides. Yeah, it was you freezing, Ash. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm close to the router. I don't know why.
Yeah. I actually have a router with 2 extension boxes. I'm plugged into one of my extension boxes and I still get it. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
I also got kids on their, internet toys.
Oh yeah. Well, don't you have a teenager?
No,
No,
I have
okay.
a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and an almost 5-year-old.
Oh, okay. I thought you had one that was a little bit older. I know.
No.
I'm so bad.
No,
Just shoot
you
me later.
you got a lot of people. No, you're fine. But I am only 35, not 52.
Yeah, I know. And that's what. So I Jordan says, guys, stop talking about ages. I know women don't like to be thought of as older like that, but I got to tell you, the way you carry yourself, you don't carry yourself like a 35-year-old, right? And it's not your looks, your mentality, the way you present yourself presents it as older to me. And I meant it. I meant it as a.
I have 6 older siblings, so I mean.
Yeah. But, that's what I mean. When I hear you talk and all that, you present yourself as a much older, more educated type of person. So that's why I thought you were older. So I take it that way.
All is forgiven.
Don't ever get my age wrong. You'll be violent.
No, Jordan, you're at that age where older would probably be better.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to be about 4 years older.
Yeah.
I remember when I turned, I think it was 42, and somebody demeanor. That's the word I was looking for. When I turned 42, and I was like, someone goes, "Oh, you're 21 today." I said, "Yeah, if you divide it by 2." He says, "That's what I'm doing." Now I'm getting to the point where you almost have to divide it by 3. Yeah.
Well, you don't look your age.
Well, I appreciate that. So let's get into let's talk about one of the articles that came out today. And we talked a little bit yesterday, but I want to give a little bit more. I want, because I don't know if you were in on the discussion yesterday. Tarasenko, I wrote an article about Tarasenko going and playing in the Worlds. When I first started writing that, I wrote it, I had a negative feel to it, like he shouldn't go. But the more I started thinking about it and the more I was looking up numbers, I was like, wait a minute. I think he should go, right? Get those extra games. He's only played since the beginning of the 2019 season. He's only played 42 games, right? That's not even a half a season. Huh?
I absolutely think that it would help with his timing to go. I'm actually applauding him for it. And that's why I liked your article was you went to the positive on it.
Because, well, like I said, originally it felt negative, right? When you hear the groin injury, right? And then what I didn't know at the time of the article was he changed agents. And I know that he changed agents because he was not happy with his ice time and not being on the power play. That concerns me a little bit.
That does concern me a little bit too. I didn't know that there was a known reason for it.
Well, you know what? Maybe I put out something I shouldn't have, but I know I got told something and I'm not going to say where I got it from, but
I also read something that he wasn't happy that he was not captain. He thought that he deserved it, and that upset him as well.
I read that was at the beginning of the season from a Russian newspaper that is suspect, right? It is a very suspect paper. One of the things that really I looked at, first of all, it's not a bad thing to be upset that you're not captain, right? That's a fire.
Yeah, no.
That's a fire. The other thing is, the only thing that concerns me with this whole thing is if something in the locker room once he came back didn't click. But it didn't seem like that. I mean, he played. Now, everyone sits there, and Rob especially goes, Actually, I forgot to send Rob a link because he's told me he would get in later. And he's probably not even sure what's going on because he doesn't know about this problem that I have. Yeah, this thing. You know what? It goes left, it goes right. You work on it as best as possible. There we go. One of the things that Rob says is, well, he's paid to score goals. I get that, but remember what Hoffman was paid to do: score goals. What did the coach do? Put him somewhere where he couldn't do what he was paid to do. Tarasenko, while he's paid to play goals, his coach wanted that forecheck, wanted the hitting, wanted the defense. And he did that. He did it, and I did it very well. He's got great vision, and it's so underrated, but he's also really got a good stick. He was poking all year, all season when he played, he was poking pucks off sticks. Right. So I want to see that continue. I want to see him I'm wondering if maybe he's gotten a little bit of a superstar mentality a little bit. I know he hasn't shown it in the past. I know that, but he's always had grounding forces around him.
Yes.
Steen, Pietrangelo, Bouwmeester, and so on. Right. With all of that, I kind of go, okay, but now this year you see that those three guys have left. He may not have that grounding thing there, that thing that grounds him, and that superstar mentality might start being leaking out a little bit.
I don't know. He didn't really play that many games for me to think that. Hey, Brock.
Yeah, we're going to bring Brock in. Hey, Brock, sorry about this. So I figured out what's going on with Facebook. Someone, tagged one of my videos as spam again, and they've temporarily prevented me from sharing live videos. So I use my other account. We'll figure it out. I will say this. I know a lot of people like watching me on Facebook and that, but I'm slightly concerned on Facebook that I get a lot of quote unquote fake views. Like if you have your auto video on and you scroll by it for 2 seconds, it counts that as a view.
Sure.
Right. And I do need to start branching away from, I would like to get more into YouTube, straight YouTube, because to be honest with you, if we want to promote this and start making it profitable, that's where we need to be, Sure. So we're going to start. I think we're going to try and figure out a way to get back into YouTube. I used to share it from YouTube a lot, and it still didn't get a lot of views. I got more views with Facebook, but I don't know how legitimate they were. But I did get a lot more chatting with Facebook. So that's just something that we got to look at. Just talking around. Go ahead, bud.
I want to just let you know that, like, I'm on Highway 70 between Columbia and St. Louis. I just want to check in with you and just say hi. And hi, Ashley. It's great to see you too. And what I'm going to do is when I get home, I'm going to check back in. Hopefully I'll be able to jump back on with you guys. But I just want to say hi, and you guys have a great show tonight, okay?
Are you watching the show while you're driving?
Well, I have it on, but I'm not watching it. I'm watching.
Yeah, you're listening.
I have the audio going. Yeah.
That sounds good, bud. Okay,
I did the
Brock,
same thing driving home from the game.
Yeah.
Drive safe.
All right, see you guys. Bye.
See you.
Okay, so we're gonna let Brock go there. That was good. That was nice that he dropped in like that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about another article that came out today that's getting a little bit of cushion, right? Joshua Ian's in Rooster. I asked Richard to write an article about the Blues from the hockey standpoint, from the 5,000 foot view.
Yes.
Oh, I love that face you're giving me.
I loved the article.
Okay.
I really did.
But there's things you didn't agree about, correct?
I actually found that I agreed more with it than I expected. I had more disagreement with the article that Brock wrote.
Okay.
This is over.
Yeah. Well, Brock kind of took it in the direction of, we should have known this was coming.
Yes.
Right. And believe it or not, I felt Richard did the same thing, just he backed it up much better. Right?
That is correct.
And while it didn't come out as we should have seen this coming, it's the tone that I got from it when I initially read it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Richard. He's got two other articles. One released, one I'm working on. It needs some, and this isn't his writing. It's more on the system. I'm trying to do something different with this article, a different platform to help put more stuff in the articles, buttons and things like that. I think on E's article, I used it a little bit, but I found a couple problems with it. They got to adjust or figure out. Sorry, I just lost my place again. But Richard's writing on this one was absolutely dead on. I thought it was really well written. I thought the tone of it was good, and he brought up some really good points. Just there was so much inconsistency going on that they were never going to be a third place team, and we should have saw it right away. And I think that we all look at that 8-0 second game against Colorado as an abbreviation when it was actually the truth, right? That game was more who the Blues were than the 4-1 victory for opening night.
Yeah.
Right. What was the Enterprise Center like with now having 9,000 fans? Did it feel a little more crowded? Because I know you went when it was 4,000 fans.
Yeah,
right?
it felt a lot more full. And it was just great to see that many people there. It was so much louder. It was just not quite, pre-COVID, but it was going in the right direction.
Going in the right direction. Yeah. So I know a lot, like Busch Stadium is going to be completely open. I think it's June 15th.
I thought it was the 1st, but I probably only skimmed it.
I thought I heard the 15th. I couldn't remember if it was June or July, but because I remember seeing Mike Claiborne tweet out about it and say, this is the real opening day, when you can have all those fans in. Oh, Richard's going to be here in a minute. Great.
That's awesome. Great.
Yeah, because I really do want to talk to him about that article. I want to, because I got to tell you, I was impressed.
I really was too. I mean, I like Richard's writing anyways, but he hasn't wrote as many articles as you or Brock.
Yeah, he's working. We're working on it. We're working on it.
And I expected him to have a harsher tone to it, but he really did kind of lessen the blow. He gently said, well, maybe we should have seen this.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think that overall, now he said himself, that's why he didn't see the Blues being as good as everybody else did at the beginning of the season. So that's why that tone came in there. But he really, your buddy Jeremy says hi.
Hey, Jeremy. How you doing, man?
I was really impressed with the writing. I do have to ask you one question, right? And I know this is going to be slightly uncomfortable, right? I know you read E's article, and there was something in E's article that I added that I got told came off really bad, and I wanted to know what you think about it. I put in there about when he talked about people not being real fans. I added the part, including my boss, sorry guy. I got told by a couple of people that came off really bad. Did it?
I thought it was funny. I thought it added humor to the article.
That's what I meant. Right? That's what I want. I thought it would add some humor to the article.
Yeah,
because
I thought it lightened the tone.
Okay, yeah, and that's what I was looking to do. But I had gotten told so you get different opinions, and I just wanted to know what yours was, right? And I appreciate that.
No, I mean, I liked that article a lot too. I felt that piece added humor to it, but the tone for that article was very hopeful. I wish it would have turned out more like, what he was going for, but.
Hey, Richard, how you doing, man?
Hello. Not too bad.
We were just talking about you, so I guess your ears are ringing. Right? So, so I put a line did you read the article? Did you read it after I put it out?
Uh-oh.
You still with me, Rich?
What article?
The one about the pandemic blues.
Oh, yeah, I read it.
Okay. I put something in it and I thought at the very end, that's the view from the north. Did you like that?
It was different. I wasn't offended by it or anything.
Okay.
I wasn't sure what to think, honestly.
Okay. Oh, I try and have all my writers have a tagline, and I thought that would be a good tagline for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And Ashley likes it. So the view from the north, that's what we'll call your articles. Right. Because Brock's articles, though it doesn't say it, is 2 minutes for what's he call it, for misconduct or something like that, and that's why at the bottom it says back to full strength, or incoherent comments or something like that. I forget. I gotta ask him again. But okay, I read that article and I got to tell you, I was impressed. You nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. When at the beginning of the season, when everybody's putting the Blues second or third, you didn't put them there, did you?
Well, I had them at third because I was expecting Minnesota to do as well as they did. If I was expecting Minnesota to be even half of what they would only be, I would have had them at third, but not really much choices besides St. Louis at third.
Right. You took more, you saw the injuries and the inconsistent play, not as an abbreviation, but who the Blues were right from the get-go. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. So why has Blues fans did we not see that? Why did we have blinders on? What created our blinders that we didn't see the inconsistent play as being their identity instead of the identity that we were used to seeing?
Well, it's because before the pandemic, the Blues were heading into the playoffs full steam ahead. They had all the tools to win championship: good offense, good defense, good goaltending. Then the pandemic happened, and in the bubble, we didn't see anything like the Blues we should have seen. And that's just carried on to the season. I think people were expecting for last year's Blues to be this year's Blues, but there's a big difference.
Well, yeah. So I guess so. I didn't see the loss of Steen as a huge loss, right? I mean, it was a loss, but I mean, you're talking about, honestly, at the time he retired, a fourth line center. He was much more than a fourth line center. What did the loss of Steen really mean to the Blues, Rich?
I just have to leave for a moment. I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem. What do you think? Well, I'll ask you that, Ashley. What did the loss of Steen mean?
It was a loss of a mentor. I mean, he mentored our younger guys coming up. He was a leader in the locker room, and losing that, it kind of lost an anchor.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, when he was on our fourth line, we were rolling 4 very dangerous lines.
That's true. And I guess now, see, I've heard a lot of things about Steen, good, bad, indifferent, right? One of the things that I've heard the most, and it was really hard for me when I read the Jim Thomas article about Steen, him always staying around the locker room and helping out in that, because I heard the exact opposite. Right? Really? Yeah, I heard that he wasn't that guy. He, that original rift had a lot to do with him thinking that he should have been the captain, not Pietrangelo. Right? So
never heard anything like that.
Oh yeah, that back in early 2018, that was especially in the media circles. Right. Like I was just getting into the media circles. That was running around a lot. Right. Okay. Let's bring Richard back here. Okay, Richard, did you hear the question I asked?
You're on mute, bud. Richard's on mute.
There you go. No, he's not. You still got your mic muted.
It's just for hostess mode. There we go. So I did hear the question. But loss of Steen wasn't typically on play loss. It was more of a leadership loss, as Steen has been with the organization for 12 years at that point, and he has established himself as one of those core members in the early 2010s. Of course, his play faltered, but that leadership was still there, and it helped mentor Barbashev, Sundqvist, and players like that.
And you know what? I got to hand it to Ashley. She said the exact same thing. You know, right? Hey, you know, you give credit where credit is due. That's what we are. Hey, this is Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan. You're watching the Hockey Fan Report, brought to you by the Blue Note Fan Report on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I'm joined today by Miss Ashley Jones and Richard Campbell from Sports Street. We're talking hockey. Right now, Toronto is going to take a huge lead. They're up 3-0 with 16 to go in the third. I haven't seen the other game yet. Let me pull that up. Richard probably knows. What's going on in the other one, Richard?
I hadn't set for scores. I just got back from work.
Okay, so let me see if I can figure out the right button to click. Last I seen, here we go. This is series is at 2-2, so this is going to put somebody in the driver's seat. They haven't showed the score yet. Here we go. Are you going to show the score? There we go. Nashville's up 2-1. Wow. And it's 7:59 in the second, so it's still early. It's not in that point where you got to worry about it. Now, so hey, I got it. Now that I got Richard, I need to ask you this. Last night, when Edmonton lost that triple overtime stunner and got swept, Carolina just tied it up. Got swept. What did you think? What's Richard the hockey guy? What's in his mind when he sees that?
Well, I didn't watch the first game of that series, but I watched parts of the last 3 games of that series, and from what I saw, it wasn't that Edmonton was playing bad, as they weren't playing horrible at all. It was that Winnipeg was connecting on every level. And fact is, I said it multiple times on this show that Edmonton's forward depth is atrocious. Like after McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, it just empties out. And that's how they lost. That forward depth was not there.
So kind of like what I said. I think McDavid needs to go to a team where he can be like on a second or a third line with guys that have talent but aren't going to score all the time, right? And just let him do his own stuff. It seems like when he's on these lines with guys at his level, so to speak, they just mess it up. You know, because he disappeared in the playoffs. I only think he had 3 points in the playoffs. Am I right?
Well, McDavid didn't disappear like people are saying. It's just that Connor Hellebuck was that good throughout the series. Hellebuck stonewalled McDavid and Draisaitl for very much of the series. What I think Edmonton needs to do is find a way to get more forward depth. Now, that is very hard with the big contracts committed to Chris Russell on defense and Saints Neal. But you have to find ways to convince these more better forward depth pieces to sign with the team.
So Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Draisaitl were pretty much the backbone of that team in the playoffs. Should Edmonton trade him?
No, they shouldn't trade McDavid. They should try building around him. Like basically what went wrong in Edmonton is Peter Chiarelli, the previous general manager before Ken Holland, he gutted that team once McDavid got there. Traded away Taylor Hall, Jordan Eberle, traded away the player Ludolf for Jordan Eberle for Spooner, which obviously we know how that went down.
Yeah.
So Holland just needs to fix Sauvelli's mistakes, and that's going to take a long time to do.
Yeah, but he's been in the league. What, McDavid's been in the league like 6 or 7 years now, right?
No. That's just how badly he guarded the team.
Yeah, this was his 6th year in the league because he came in 2015, right? So he's got he played 45 games in 2015 with 48 points, 82 games in 16-17 with 100 points, 82 games in 17-18 with 108 points, 18-19, 78 games with 116 points. Last season, 64 games, 97 points. This year, broke out 56 games with 105 points. He had 72 assists, which, just incredible. But Mike, where I'm kind of going in the playoffs, I don't think has he been past the second round since he's been in the playoffs, since he's been in the league? Or been to the second round?
He made it to the second round in 2017, but after that season, they traded away Jordan Eberle, and that's how they came crashing down, losing that valuable winner.
So he's been to the second round once in 6 years, right? And I actually think he's only been to the playoffs twice or 3 times.
Not twice.
Right? Well, no, because they was in the playoffs last time, so it would have been 3 times, yeah. So what do you think about McDavid, Ashley?
Honestly, I'm still learning about other teams. This season, with how weird it's been, we haven't played any Canadian teams, so I haven't seen a lot of hockey from them. But what I've seen from McDavid, he's obviously a very good goal scorer. I kind of agree with you that I don't know how he helps the team around him be better, but he's your kind of one and all guy. Like, he can do it all.
Yeah, he is. And he scores highlight reel goals all the time. And it just seems like when you have Draisaitl alongside him, that they're not Hall and Oates, right? They don't work together, right? And it's actually, to me, I feel like they're more oil and water than they are Hall and Oates. Richard doesn't agree with me. I see that face, Richard. What do you think there, bud?
Well, you're correct in saying it's not like Oates and Hall, as that combination just work together. McDavid and Draisaitl, we can work together, but if I was the coach, I'll put McDavid centering one line and Draisaitl centering the other, as that way you have power throughout the lineup, because as I said before, that depth doesn't have anybody.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like if you put you can't put, it's almost like you can't put your best players with McDavid. You've got to put lower players with him so he can just go out and do his thing. Because when he's with the best players, he just doesn't seem to elevate anything. It changes his game. And then the Jets did a really good job keeping him off the scoreboard.
Well, the reason why the Jets held him off the scoreboard was because of the goaltending. Like, entering the series, I knew Edmonton's forward depth was bad, but I thought Winnipeg's defense depth was worse, and that's why I had Edmonton over Winnipeg, because I thought that offense would take care of them, and that Hellebuck was struggling before the playoffs. So I had Edmonton winning, but if Winnipeg was still on the roll like they were mid-season, I would have had Winnipeg winning.
Yeah. Well, that 4-1 or 5-4 overtime, that just destroyed Edmonton, in my opinion. Right? I mean, they fought, but you lose a game when you're up by 3 goals with less than 5 minutes left. Right? That's a backbreaker. Right. And for Blues fans, I can compare it to this. The Sharks in game 5 of the Western Conference Series, when they got blown out 5-1 like that with everybody down, you just knew they weren't winning in game 6. You just knew it. You knew they weren't even going to show up for game 6, and they didn't, So that was kind of the thing with that one. I like the Jets going forward. Toronto, the last I looked. Oh, by the way, Carolina's goal got called back. I didn't see what for. I think it was goaltender interference. I didn't say I was talking to you guys. But Toronto is starting to put its will against Montreal. What do you think about that series, Richard?
Well, I haven't seen a whole lot of it. It's usually on when I'm at work. I catch little bits and pieces of it. But I know what the series was going to end up like, and it's exactly how I thought it would go out. Because like Montreal should not be in the playoffs this year. They absolutely shouldn't. But a very mediocre team like Arizona is, they've had a mediocre season, and normally most mediocre teams don't make the playoffs. If it was for traditional NHL format, the Rangers would have made it over Montreal. I think Belly could have made it over Montreal. Yeah. I just saw Toronto wiping the floor.
Well, see, I didn't think Winnipeg was going to make the playoffs. I actually had it Winnipeg, Vancouver, Montreal, or no, Winnipeg, Vancouver, Ottawa, Montreal, and I thought Montreal would be like on the edge there. Really surprised me that Calgary couldn't get it together.
Well, honestly, with Calgary, it didn't surprise me because that's how they've been the past few years. 1 year felt amazing, but next year they struggle. And the thing about the Flames is they're never going in with that core of Monahan, Goodrow, Giordano, Markstrom. That core is never going to make it past the playoff round, and I think they should just split up Goodrow and Monahan right now. That really can get to a core that will eventually win the Stanley Cup.
So you don't think that those guys can work with Tkachuk? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think Tkachuk should stay with the Flames, but I think Tkachuk should be the main focus of the Flames. I think they can trade away Monahan and Goodrow for a very nice package, retool yourself for 2 years, and then be a serious playoff contender. Because there's no point in being a fringe playoff contender going nowhere.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Ashley, what's your opinion? What's your thoughts right now with the Blues in the offseason? Where do you think the Blues should go? What do you think that they should do, or what their priorities should be? I
mean, they need to decide who they're going to sign and who they're going to let go, for one, because I'm pretty sure Hoffman's gone. I wish we'd keep him, but I just don't see that happening. Yeah. I don't know if Schwartz is worth saving. I think he's going to want too much money for what he actually does. Mm-hmm. I'm on the fence about Bozak. I would love him to stay. And if we lose the other two, we could keep him, but he's not as young as he used to be either.
Yeah.
So
he's not a $5 million player. Right.
I think that we need to focus on our youth. We've got Klim Kostin, we've got Dakota Joshua, and I think that we're going to have to work with our youth. And maybe we can get a veteran that might help along the way, but
yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Because Richard's in an encyclopedia. What free agent or pending free agent do you think the Blues should go after?
Honestly, I think the Blues shouldn't go after any big free agents. I think the guys just need some guys to help the retool come along. Like, if I had the choice, I would resign Bozak, as he's kind of like that Kyle Brodziak player the guys had a couple of years ago. He's that stellar fourth line center, and you can do everything with him. And I'll just sign players like him, sign some 28, 30-year-olds who can help the retool along.
Well, see, the only problem I have with that is if you're focusing on youth, you're basically saying you're rebuilding. And I don't think that this team needs to rebuild. I think it needs to retool, right?
Yeah, I agree with that, a retool. But there's nothing wrong with focusing on the youth that you already have and maybe taking advantage of that youth versus trying to sign, people that want way too much money for what they're actually producing for the team.
I'd like to see us look at a good middle six center or a good middle six forward, two-way forward, right? As long as we have Berube, well, and not only that, our defense, right? Our defense,
yes,
right. But in defense, you look at. Here's my issue with defense. We had the answer in the press box the entire time, right? And the refusal to use the assets in the press box really baffles me. And I'm not going off on coaching. I'm just saying, you look at what Mikkola did when Wallman was out. Mikkola played better than Wallman, hands down.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but Mikkola kind of reminds me of Pronger when he was younger. I really like Mikkola. I don't see why we keep going Wallman over Mikkola, or even why we don't just put both of them in, because I like the way that they both play, and they are the future. I mean, our defense is getting older.
Yes, it is. What do you think, Rich?
Well, number one, I think Wallman and Mikkola should both make the team next year. If I was the Blues, I would say goodbye to Gunnarsson and Bertuzzo and play those two full time. No offense to Gunnarsson and Bertuzzo, but as I said, we too only need to retool.
Yeah, well,
I don't think that
Bertuzzo's got
Gunnarsson's
another year
back
on his contract, I think.
Exactly, that's what I mean by letting him go. And
you mean exposed? Well, he's going to be exposed. Oh,
well, I think he has to sign. Like, his contract is up after this season, anyways.
Who's?
Gunnarsson.
No, yeah, Gunnarsson's an unrestricted free agent. He's not coming back.
Yeah, I don't think he's.
I guarantee that. Even at, I mean, he's a value at 1.75, but he's not coming back. Right? He's even for 1.75. I don't want a guy that's going to bounce between the lineup and the press box, right?
Well, the reason why I don't want the Blues to sign Gunnarsson is because the opposite replacement right now in Mikkola Wallman, one of those two can take his spot. Like, Gunnarsson is a good number 6 defenseman, but you already have enough of those already.
Jordan says the one time she gets on her iPad, it's dead. Snapchat Messenger and texts are going off like crazy.
There's a couple of players, since you asked me what free agents they can target. I pulled up a list and I can list the names for you.
Okay. Who do you know what? Who do you think? And then also remember, I have a hard time sometimes hearing you when you say names. Email me that list so I can look at it and maybe write about it. Are you good with that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, so go ahead and say them, bud.
So I have here, there is Marcus Johansson, who is on Minnesota right now. He's a two-way player, middle six player. He can play exactly what Lucis told us, what they need, a two-way player.
Okay.
There is Riley Nash, who's on Toronto right now, acquired at the deadline. And there is Semi BC, who's on Vancouver at the moment. So some 4-foot third line guys to bounce in and out of the lineup.
Who was the third one?
Semi BC.
What about doing a trade with somebody for some young talent? Young defenseman. What is a young defenseman out there that you think, or not? Not necessarily young, but a defenseman that may be an RFA that you think the Blues might be able to trade done for?
I don't think that they're doing trade done for a defenseman. I think they just let Seattle take done. So I don't really have any people in mind for that.
Well, we got about 5 minutes left. And then for this last question, I want to go back to the first thing that I talked about. Did you read the article I wrote, Richard? I wrote the article about Tarasenko going to play for the Worlds. Do you think that's a good idea for him or not?
Honestly, Tarasenko decides that game 4 where he put the 2 goals into the back of the net. I think he needs to rehab his injury. Like, it does no harm going to the Sooners, but if I was Tarasenko, I wouldn't. But that's not my decision.
Well, no. So I know he talked about after the game that he was dealing with some groin issues, right? And that could be, there's a whole bunch of different levels in there. It could just be a tight muscle. If it was a tear, he wouldn't be playing at all. And he wouldn't be making that shot. I'm wondering, so I said that he'd only played in 42 games in two seasons, and that his timing was getting better. Maybe playing in 4 or 5 more games where the rink's a little bit bigger, it's not as physical, might help get more, help his vision, help his timing, help his offense a little bit. Do you agree, or?
That could very well be the case where he just needs to get his legs going. So I can see that working. As I said previously, I wouldn't be going, but I can see the logic behind going.
Okay, fair enough. So, Ashley, we got a few minutes left. What's your last thoughts, last takes?
Did you happen to see the interview with Perron today?
Yeah, well, I didn't see it all. I've heard about most of it.
Yeah, that was really heartbreaking.
Yeah. Basically, he went and got the shot, and 2 days after he got the shot, he tested positive, right? So this is kind of what I know about that. And I'm this is my speculation or my understanding. I'm not saying it's scientific proof or whatever, but I know somebody else that this happened to. If you had gotten the virus before, or if you had some of the antibodies already in you, when you get the shot, the shot actually, because you're getting a little bit of the virus, a dead part of the virus, it activates and it may stimulate what's in you, the virus that's in you. Because I think he said that he had got, or it was one of them had said that they had gotten it before and it was the second time. So it may have been a stimulation of it that started there. So he could have had the virus and still tested negative. But once he got the shot, it brought it up enough to test positive. So he may have tested positive anyways, right? That there is that chance that he may have tested positive anyways. That's kind of the way I think about it. Right? What do you think, Richard?
Well, from what I've heard about the virus, and my mother was in the ICU, so I hear a lot about the virus. From what I understand, it takes a couple of weeks for the COVID shot to take effect, so it very well could have happened a couple of days before he got the shot, and as you said, it stimulated it. Yeah.
So that's just kind of what I'm looking at. Well, hey, Ashley, thank you so much for showing up today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
You're a great guest. You're a great guest. We love having you on, and you do a great job with the social media and getting the articles out. And just before we go, I'll tell you this. Yesterday was one of the best days we've had in months. Yesterday, we had 195 visitors that looked at 264 pages. Today, we're pushing 133 visitors that looked at 175 pages. So keep sharing that stuff out. You're doing a great job. Keep work. I know you're working on Twitter. We want to get you on Instagram too, to start, getting your blues up on Instagram. And guys, just talk about the articles on Facebook. Just take the article, share it on Facebook share it on your page, share it just keep talking about it. And that's what I need everybody to do. Keep talking about it, because as word of mouth comes, we're going to grow and we're going to get there. And I really appreciate you. Hey, Richard, any last thoughts or comments?
None that come to mind.
Right. Oh, your Vienza will be done tonight.
Okay.
Right. I have about, if I cannot figure out the system that I'm using tonight. I'm going to go back to the old one, and it'll be. I'll probably release it like I did the one yesterday. Set it up. So, and then when I get up, I share it in other groups, right? So it'll release on Twitter and on my page and in the clan at about. I think I had it released at 7:00 this morning. Right? Is that a good time for a release like that, Ashley, or should it be earlier?
I thought it was fine. Granted, I was working practically all day, and I just kind of caught it at the right time.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go. So it kind of works that I do it that way. Okay, guys. This is Guy, who, again, doesn't change the machine. Huh?
Your nickname is Buttons.
Buttons, yeah. Well, see, what it is I have the machine has 8 buttons on it. But you can have 8 different sets to the buttons. And usually I have everything in the second row, but if I turn it off, it goes to the first row. Oh. And I forget that it goes to the first row. And the first row has what is probably what you guys all love the most is this. So because it's there, I forget to switch it over to this. So everybody, this is Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, saying aloha. Mahalo, and thank you for watching. And don't forget, this episode will soon be up on all your wherever you find podcasts. Hopefully we'll be on YouTube, or not YouTube, on Apple Podcast soon. But you can always check out Anchor and look for the Blue Note Fan Report. This is Guy for Ashley Jones and Richard Campbell saying aloha, mahalo, and you got to know that I am bleeding blue with you. And we'll see you tomorrow night. Same bat time, same bat channel. Aloha.